So when you started in, let's say, the fitness world, like, how did you get to fitness? Like, when you, how did your life take you from just normal Chris to online Yucky?
Like sex icon, all that.
Yeah, exactly.
So high school, dude. So I'll run through the story real quick. But high school, junior year, basically up until junior year of high school, I was built like a donut. Like skinny fat, just nothing, like no strength, no nothing. Didn't, I played a little bit of soccer, but that was pretty much it. And then my buddy, star linebacker for the football team, was like, "Hey, come out and try out." He was like peer pressuring me to do it. And I was like, "Dude, I don't know fucking anything about football." Anyway, I go out and I get the most humbling experience ever, right? Like, I'm getting outran by the fattest linemen that look like bowling balls. I couldn't do a bar dip. I almost ripped my shoulders out of their sockets. I tried to, they were maxing on bench, and I put 25s on each side, and it almost decapitated me. It was horrendous. I put the bar on to try to squat it with no weight on it, and the knurling just like literally made my back bleed, and I just like took it off. So that was just like a fire under mask. So then that summer, I got my first ever gym membership. I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna get abs. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was on the treadmill every day doing bicep curls and treadmill, because I was and sit-ups. That's all I knew, and I got abs, right? So then I went into senior year as this cocky kid. I had little abs. I was skinny. I didn't wear a shirt half the year, and I mean that's when the sex icon thing started, right? Because that's when I knew. That's when everybody knew. And then that year, actually, I was so about the fitness stuff that the gym I was training at, the fitness director came to me and she's like, "Hey, why don't we get you on the squad? Like, you take your fitness more seriously than the rest of my trainers here. Like, we need to get you on as a trainer." And I was still in high school. I was like, "Fuck it." Like, she's like, "I'll pay you for your certification. Let's make it happen." No. I was like, "Okay, cool." So we do that, become a trainer, start just literally dive in, start getting experience with all these clients. And then, one thing leads to another. I'm taking it more serious. I scope out like goal physiques. I don't know if you remember Robbie Sardinia. Does that name ring a bell?
The name does ring a bell, but I can't put a picture in my mind.
So it kind of looks like Superman, tall, dark, and handsome kind of guy. He was Alberto Nunez's client way back in the day.
That's where I know the
pro bodybuilder. Yeah.
Okay.
So I basically made that connection for 3DMJ, linked up with Alberto Nunez of 3DMJ in person. He looked at my physique. He's like, "Yeah, you can compete." He gave me that reassurance. So we just hopped into a contest prep, and that's when I started bodybuilding. And, one thing led to another, the social media, the YouTubing, then the sponsorships, the Gymshark stuff. And then, it was just, I was coaching in person from 06 to like 13. And then that's when we really started like, catching rhythm with the LOA thing, which was the business that we started with August. And in 2013 was when I just left the, companies writing my paychecks and just kind of dove all in on the online training and just sponsorships and just not even knowing what the fuck we were doing, but just doing fitness events and just hustling and just making it happen. And
a lot of times you don't need to know what you're doing. You just need to do something. I think a lot of people just lack the initiative to just do it. Like, go do something, be productive. And dude, you pretty much did it. You're like, dude, like, you got that opportunity. Hey, we want you to train here. You're like, all right. You just took that opportunity. A lot of people will procrastinate. They'll put it off. And then people wonder why they're not successful, right? Like, you're not talking about, I went and I got in this prestigious university and then I got my master's degree. I worked on my doctorate. You're like, no, I had opportunities and I took them. And a lot of people get opportunities to improve their life. They just don't take those opportunities. They just let them go by. Like, I'll do it next time, or no, not right now. It's not the good time. I always tell people, take as many opportunities as you can until you run out of time. A lot of people are just lazy and complacent. It just seems like you were always like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. That sounds good. That sounds great. Yeah, I'll make it happen. Oh, here's an opportunity for a sponsorship. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. And then you might not take the biggest, it's not enough money, but you're like, what if I earn my way up and I prove myself and I get more and more and more? And it seems like you just earned your way through meritocracy. You just worked your ass off.
Dude, I think a lot of people can kind of, take value in what you just said, because I'll be the first to say, like, I'm very much a perfectionist, and a lot of opportunities would kind of scare me at first, but I was like thankful that early on, my fuck it mentality kind of overrode my hesitations on a lot of things. And so I would dive in on things that, like you said, I didn't even really know what the fuck I was doing. But I said, dude, what do I got to lose? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what am I going to lose? Like, once you ask yourself that question and actually realize that there's nothing to lose, then you get into the whole, like, let's dive in, let's make it happen. And so that's pretty much what it was. Like, get involved with, companies you believe in, start businesses, let the business guide you rather than you thinking you have to know the whole fucking 5-year 10-year plan of it. At the time, like, LOA would be a perfect example. A lot of people remember LOA movement with August, and
of course.
Dude, it was like, there was points in time where, like, we had no idea, like, dude, and keep in mind, like, we were in our 20s, we had no idea what we were doing, but we would do it, like, oh, there's an event going down in Ohio, all right, cool. We would just hit up our friends, like, hey, can you guys fly out with us to Ohio? We're gonna, get the hotel. We're gonna do this trade show, the Arnold, or like Vegas, the Olympia. Like, all right, cool. Let's go to our stock, load up a fucking work van, and just fucking drive to Vegas and get a booth and see what happens. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So it's just, these things aren't fancy. They're not hard to do. It's basic ass shit, but it's just getting up and doing it. Like you said, I think you're probably very much like that too, right? Like, you just go. And a lot of things, like, even if only one thing out of 10 sticks, if you're in motion and you get that one thing here and there and here and there, like, in the grand scheme, you're going to be winning.
Oh, absolutely. There's been times where I've been like, hey, let's start this. Cool. And I'll just start working without even really knowing and it's probably not the best thing to do, without even knowing how the pay structure goes. I'm just like, cool, let's go. And then they're like, oh, well, you already did all this. And I know that a lot of people are, very cautious, but my theory is always like, until they prove you wrong, trust them. I'm almost too trusting. I've been screwed over doing it, but more cases than not, it has worked out for me in the end, where I end up forging that partnership. I end up getting that opportunity and I end up starting something really cool. So I think a lot of times we're so apprehensive and untrusting, and rightfully so, that we lose a lot of opportunities with people who might be really good to work with. Boom!